The world is too much with us. A sonnet written by William Wordsworth. The analysis is done by Dr. Vinamrata.
Today, the poem that we are going to study closely is The World is Too Much with Us, written by William Wordsworth. William Wordsworth, as we all know, is a nature poet, and he is quite prone towards the aesthetic beauties of nature and how nature must be preserved, and the basic governing factor is nature in his works. So here also you will see how he tries to bring us back to nature, because till that time first industrial revolution has taken place and people were becoming materialistic, people were becoming more and more close towards materialistic values, worldly values, and because of that the essence of nature was being lost, the essence of aesthetic beauty was being lost, the essence of the involvement with nature was lost, with trees, with birds, preserving nature. Because with the rise of capitalism, with the rise of materialism, what we do is generally we cut down trees, we cut down, we become actually a threat to the environment. So you can see Wordsworth as the first environmentalist who tries to bring us back to nature. So here also in this poem you will see that it is written after the repercussion that he feels and sees around him after the industrial revolution has taken place. So the poem is written in a sonnet form, and it has got the Italian or the Petrarchan model because it has been divided into an octave and a sestet. So in detail we will study all the technicalities of the poem. Let's begin with the poetry. This is the poem in front of us. You see it has been divided into two stanzas. The first one is having 8 lines, so octave. The second one is having 6 lines, so sestet. Together 14 lines, therefore it is a sonnet. And because it is octave and sestet in that way divided, thus it is a Italian or a Petrarchan sonnet. The rhyme scheme which is being followed here is A B B A B B A C D C D C D, and the poem is written in iambic pentameter. The poem was first composed in 1802 but was first published in 1807. So let's begin with the understanding the symbols, images, and the summary of the poem. The world is too much with us, late and soon, getting and spending. We lay waste our powers. Little we see in nature that is ours. We have given our hearts away, a sordid boon. So what is the poet trying to say in the first 4 lines? He wants to say that the world is with us. We have been created through this nature. We will finally go back to this nature. Everything has been created out of this world, of this nature which is around us. But we have lost the capacity of appreciating it. Late and soon everyone has to die, everyone has to go back into the nature. The world is with us, but we are not understanding that. Why? Because we have wasted our powers in absorbed in materialistic pleasures, getting and spending. We want to gain money, we want to spend money, we want to get engrossed in the materialistic pleasures of the world, not seeing the nature. Little we see in nature that is ours. The nature has given us so plenty. It is full of bounty. It has given us beautiful springs, rivers, waterfalls. It has given us trees, flowers, birds, music, rhythm. But we fail to miss it. So what have we done? We have given our hearts away towards materialistic pleasures, and it is a kind of sordid boon. Sordid boon is a oxymoron. Boon is basically something, a kind of bliss, a kind of power given to someone. But what we have done, we think that it is a boon. We assume materialism to be a boon because we think that how much money we have, that much success we have. But we fail to realize this fact that it is sordid. It is not going to help us in any way in the long run, because money cannot ever give us internal pleasure or the happiness which any person seeks. So it is a boon, but it is a sordid boon. This sea that bears her bosom to the moon. So see, he is personifying nature here, and the sea assumes to be a beloved, and she bears her bosom, bears her heart to the moon. The sea looks towards the moon. Obviously, sea and moon have strong relationship. Whenever the moon comes close to earth, the tides rise up. So the sea has bared herself to the moon. The winds that will be howling at all hours are all gathered up now like sleeping flowers. For this, for everything, we are out of tune. So we do not see the beauty in the sea, we do not see the beauty in the moon, we do not notice the beauty of the blowing of the winds, we do not see the beauty of the flowers. We are missing the beauty that is there in the nature. We have tuned us out of this. Why? Because we are tuned towards money, we are tuned towards power, we are tuned towards the dresses, the riches, the sensual pleasures which money will bring to us. So we are missing the pleasures of nature.
So now we move on to the second stanza of the poetry, which is the sestate, and it reads thus: It moves us not, great God. I would rather be a pagan, sucked in creed outworn. So might I, standing on this pleasant lea, have glimpses that would make me less forlorn. Have sight of Proteus rising from the sea, or hear old Triton blow his red horn. So he talks about the creed outworn. Creed outworn means the sect or the social structure which is not being followed now. Means he's talking about the older religions. Who is a pagan? A pagan is someone who does not believe in Christianity, because Christianity is a late religion before Jesus Christ. The earlier Greek and Roman myths which were being followed, and the earlier gods which were prayed, who were the Greek gods, so, or the Roman gods, which were basically the gods related to nature. So he says that at that time people were very much close to nature, like sun god was Apollo, and moon god was there, sea god was there. So here he mentions two gods, that is the sea god Proteus and Triton. Triton again is a sea god. So he is talking about all those forces of nature which people used to pray earlier. In Indian religion also you will see in earlier times there were all the natural forces, be it Agni or Surya or Chandra, all were prayed. In the same way, all the natural forces were prayed in the Greek and Roman religion. So he says that in the ancient times, people were more close to nature, and that's why he says that now we are not moving, now we are not talking about these natural things. So it's better, I would rather be a pagan, a non-conformist, a non-believer who is involved in some creed, some sect, some religion which is outworn, which has died now, which nobody follows now. But he says that that religion was much more good. Why? Because today when he is standing on this pleasant place, that is a lea. Lea is a place near a sea side, and actually it is the other side of a mountain. A mountain has two sides, the windward side from where the wind blows, and the leeward side, that is the other side of the mountain. So here he is standing on a mountain which is near a sea, and he says that he is standing on this pleasant lea, and from this mountain he can see the glimpses of the sea, and have glimpses, have sights that would make me less forlorn, because forlorn is someone who is alone and dejected. So in this time when everyone has become so materialistic, he feels dejected, he feels alone, he feels aloof, he feels forlorn. So he says that it would be better for me to embrace some old religion which believed in natural forces, and I would pray to those natural forces. So when I am standing on this mountain, I would be more associated with nature around me, and I could see how Proteus rises from the sea. Proteus is the sea god, I have already told you. So how Proteus, so he imagines everything around him, all the natural forces around him to be some kind of blessing in disguise, because he associates them with certain gods. And he says that Proteus is rising from the sea, or the Triton again is a kind of semi-god,
sea god. So Triton also comes out from the sea and he blows his horn. So Triton generally is depicted by having a horn with him which he plays on it. So he says that either he would see Proteus or he would see Titan blowing his conch, his horn, and he would have the beauty or feel the beauty of the sea and all the natural things around him. He would enjoy the nature around him. So he says that it's more better to be a pagan than a believer, because now in these days people have been away from natural things, people have been away from environment, they are not taking care of their environment, they are not associated with beautiful things around them which are natural. So this is a poem which draws attention for the viewers and the readers to come close, come back to nature. So that is all about this poetry, and I'm sure you must have been able to understand it. So if you have understood this poetry and if you have liked this video, then don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you.